So I thought, what better of an idea than to bring in one of my favorite builders, DR Horton. Danny Altizer is going to come and join us and give us his perspective on why they're selling so many homes. I mean, they sell twice as many homes as the second leading builder in the state of Washington. So it's going to be really cool to see what their secret is and learn more about their company. So we've got Danny here, so we'll start. Danny, how are you doing, man?
Good, good. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. I know you're a busy man.
Try to stay busy, for sure. Yeah, we have a lot happening. DR Horton's definitely making a mark in this in the marketplace here, and hopefully making a difference.
What are you seeing this year versus last year?
Prices are up. I think that's a unique economic indicator. You know, we definitely were seeing a great sales increase over the previous 2 years as far as just volume of homes, but not great price increases. But in the last 12 to 14 months, we actually saw opportunities in the marketplace to actually have real price increases. So even though we won't sell a much higher volume of homes this year, the dollar figures are much higher. So, and we're seeing that market-wide, obviously, in resale as well.
Yeah, it's a great time to buy right now, and everything's kind of moving. I kind of jumped over. Give us your background with DR Horton. You've been there for about 5 years, and you're the area sales manager. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I started with Horton in the bottom of the market, oddly enough. I came on with them in the middle of '09, so I was definitely just right in the middle of probably the worst market we've seen in a long time. Came on as a site agent with them, and then just over a course of time, began to grow with the company, began to take on more than one community at a time, helping to coach team members, that kind of thing. And then an opportunity presented itself for me to become the area sales manager in September. And so I took on that role, and that basically encompasses everything south of the King County line. So and now actually branching into King County a little bit, just because we're starting to make strides a little further north, and so it's expanding our community count kind of in the South King County area, which is, as a result, adding more to my plate.
So you have your eyes on all the different DR Horton developments down in Pierce and Thurston County, and now some in King County, huh?
Yes, all the way down. So we go as far south, at least where I'm covering, goes as far south as Tumwater right now.
Okay.
Our Lacey community is almost done. Probably by the time this airs for everybody, we will be sold out of Lacey, so that community will be a memory. And then we go, the communities that I manage go as far north as South King County into Auburn and Lakeland Hills, that kind of thing. And then we have communities as far north, obviously, as Lake Stevens and even sliding into Marysville occasionally.
I've got Danny Altizer here for everyone that just joined in, and he's just telling us about DR Horton and his position with them. And as I mentioned earlier, they're just they're on fire. They've had a good momentum for the last 2 years in the area, it seems like, and you're seeing more and more developments out there. Danny, can you tell us what makes DR Horton unique as a builder?
You know, I don't think it's any one thing. I think we bring some really unique offerings to the table. I think we really go the extra mile to make sure that we're getting people what they want and getting into the marketplace where we fit. I think a lot of folks build what they want to build and sell it for what they want to sell it for and hope the buyers like it. We really go out of our way to make sure we find the marketplace, where the market is, not only what people want, but what people can afford, which I think separates us pretty dramatically. There are definitely times out there where we'll be sitting right next to another builder who's selling similar product at a much higher price. And for us, it's like a head scratcher. Why? That means that the market didn't want that, because we're there and we're selling a lot and they're dark.
You know, one thing I've noticed is you guys have some of the best sales agents. I mean, a lot of them I've done resale with in the past, but everyone there is just so helpful with the follow-up. And how do you get guys that good?
We are flipping fortunate, let me tell you. I have an amazing team. I think you worked with quite a few of our folks. I'm super fortunate. We just have the best. I think we attract the best because we're working hard to provide the best product. I think it makes us desirable as not only a builder, but as an employer. And so as a result, we get great people. And then the result of that is that our buyers get to experience great people.
What are you noticing in the new construction market right now?
Land's hard to find.
Yeah.
So my message today, if I had my own commercial today on your show, would
Take
be,
it, yeah.
If you think you have a piece of real estate that makes sense for us as a builder, feel free to reach out to me at DR Horton, Danny Altizer, and just give me a call. I'm easily found on the MLS. Search me out. Call me up if you think you have a piece of land that would make sense to us as a builder. Be happy to have it. It's definitely getting harder and harder to find good quality pieces of real estate in the South End. We're seeing a way fewer home sites available than over the past 3 or 4 years.
And last week we had the economist on, and he just said how in King County the prices have almost doubled for finished lots.
Yes.
How are you guys getting land with the prices, and it's got to play such a toll?
That's
on
a
the
question. I was actually going to ask you that.
Okay.
You know, I'm just saying, it's been tough. I will tell you that amongst what else, all my other responsibilities, I have to be forward-looking and thinking about, like, where will we go next if we sell out? Like Lacey's a great example. I had high hopes. I've looked at, dozens of pieces of property over the last year, thinking Lacey will sell out. My Eagle Court community will sell out, and where will we go? And really, I've always felt, and it's I'm a little quirky this way. DR Horton's obviously a for-profit business. We're not a nonprofit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like what we do, we have a responsibility as America's builder. If we really are America's builder, then we have a responsibility to make sure we're building houses for soldiers. And Lacey is one of our key communities, lots of soldiers. That's a desirable location. And right now I'm at a deficit, kind of scratching my head, because I feel like we're responsible to continue on and make sure that we're building quality housing for our men and women in the armed forces.
So you're still looking down there. If you could find something in Lacey, you jump on all over
If
again?
it makes sense, yeah. And obviously that's the challenge. What you were talking about, the doubling in price. You think about that for a minute. The finished lot prices doubled, but house prices didn't double.
Right.
And that's kind of where we come off the rails is, sellers of home sites or real estate that can be developed into home sites see house prices go up 12,000, and their immediate response is, well, my lot price must have gone up 12,000, but that math doesn't work.
Right.
And somewhere that comes off the rails. That can happen for a little while, but at some point that number becomes unsustainable.
So what are your thoughts on, are you seeing a lot more pre-sales? I mean, do you guys even do spec homes now, or how's that going?
No, we build homes for people to move into, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we see a lot of pre-sales as well, because we sell out of our finished inventory very quickly. So we may get a run where we get out ahead in front of it, and as you know, we pull a lot of permits and we build a lot of houses. And so we can get out in front of the market sometimes and have some standing or some near finished inventory to sell, but just as many as we have that, we have folks that come in and go, wow, I missed that house. What do we do? Well, we'll get you into a pre-sale home or a home that I have under permit, and we get folks into those as well.
Can you explain the advantages to the listeners of having all these permits ready and not having to wait with the county and having these homes almost finished to kind of move in?
Well, I think one of the keys to that would be knowing what your payment's going to be.
Yeah.
There's lots of advantages, but I think one of the biggest would be knowing what your payment's going to be, because we know what interest is today. We know what the interest rates are today. So if you can buy a home that can close inside of 60 days, then you have a guarantee of where your payment's going to land. But if you've got to buy a home that's 4 to 6 months out, it's a waiting game. When we lock your rate, or when your lender locks your rate, where are you going to be at? What's your payment going to be like? Is it going to be at the current rates, 4.5-ish? Or is it going to be at whatever that new rate is at 5? Or could it drop? We don't know. That's one of the big ones. I think that's a big standout for folks when they look at homes. They need to really take into account when they're buying a home, when they're thinking about how much they can afford, they better also keep in mind how much can they afford if rates go up.
Danny, are you seeing the buying pool change in terms of what they want? Are you guys changing the type of homes you're building at all, or is it?
I would say one thing is that we really we've seen a big pendulum swing. So if you went back 5 to 7 years ago, let's go 7 years ago in the marketplace, there was a lot of form over function, right? Like people just wanted bigger, fancier, shinier, lots more upgrades, and then as the pendulum swung and the market changed, it became function over form. And it was like, just get me as much house as you can, as functionally as possible, for the lowest price possible. And now we're seeing that kind of swing back again, and people are a little more feature driven than they had been over the past 2 or 3 years, really starting to add more options, not getting crazy like they did 7 years ago and throwing 50 grand in options to their house, but we're definitely seeing people put more options into their home and add that to their purchase price and ultimately to their payment, and feeling good about that.
Danny, how does that affect DR Horton and the standards that they have to provide on these houses? In terms of, the needs and wants changed, where now you got to have standard granite in some of these places, and
yeah, that's a tough one, right? We really need to really think and look closely at the marketplace and look at on the smaller builder scale. We actually kind of take some cues from them, right? Because they're there, they can set up shop quicker than we can, because they're building 1, 2, 3, 4 houses. And we're seeing what's attractive for those buyers, for those one-off, guys that build a couple of homes at a time, what they're putting in, what people are willing to pay for. So we actually do take some cues from the smaller builders periodically and kind of looking at what's been selling prior to our arrival when we set up a big community and make sure that we're queuing into that and putting those features into our homes as well.
Dan, I try to get out on vacation when I'm not working too hard, and I try to get out of state. So I've been to Hawaii and down in Palm Springs and Palm Deserts, and I'm seeing these DR Horton signs. I mean, you guys are everywhere, right?
We are. We're in 28 states currently.
Wow.
Building a lot of communities all over the country.
Do you follow kind of the hotter areas and whatnot for new construction sales, or you're probably just...
Well, I do, but we are it.
Yeah.
So,
are we like probably top 3 or 4?
Top 3 or 4. We were the #1 division in our company nationwide for the last 4 years. Just basically, that's driven off of profitability and that kind of stuff, but it gives you an indicator that we're doing well here. This market is healthy. This year we're probably going to get beat out by NorCal. We'll just call it what it is. Northern California is going to just knock us out of the park as far as that role goes, but it's because that market is finally recovering from a devastating loss. I mean, we think we had a tough year because we were down 20. Those guys were down 40% in some places.
That was such a dynamic correction.
Yeah, so it's correcting itself back. It's at similar fever pitch. They'll never make it back, or at least it would be a decade or more before they make it back to where they were, but they're seeing correction at a much higher level than we are.
Danny, I got time for about one more question. So what is the future of DR Horton that you're seeing up in this area? I mean, what is if you could just wave a magic wand and say, this is what it's going to look like in the next year or two?
Wow, that's a really good question. You know, we're online for, we have 18 active communities now, and it's a little difficult to call them active or inactive because when you look on the map, you see 23, 24, 25 communities listed on our advertised website, that kind of thing. We consider an active community a community that has more than 4 homes to sell.
Okay.
If we call it less than 4 homes, I've got about 23 communities active right now. But as soon as the lights go off on those 5 that we're talking about with 1, 2, or 3 homes currently, I'm bringing on just that many more communities. We are seeing ourselves slide a little further north, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to fortify ourselves in the south end a little better. But I suspect this next year you would not be shocked to find us with 26 to 28 active communities with home community sizes anywhere from 50 to 250 homes.
Perfect. And then it's amazing how you guys continue to keep up the rate of speed you're selling these homes at and opening up these communities.
I think for us, you asked earlier what separates us. There's lots of little things. I think that one of those key things is an answer that we to a question that the market asked several years ago, which is, man, if we write an offer on a house, how quick can we hear back on it? Because I think folks were out shopping in a desperate marketplace, stressed. They write an offer on a Saturday with most builders. That offer gets submitted. It goes into corporate. 2 or 3 other offers could be submitted on that home, or no other offers could be submitted. Somebody at corporate scratches their head on Monday, does some math, signs off what they want to do on that offer, and gets it back to the buyer. For us, we do that completely different, as you know.
Yeah.
We do what we call a one-page offer form. I know it seems kind of simple, and is that really a big deal? But it really is. It's amazing the response from buyers when they submit an offer and 30 minutes later a member of our executive team signs off on that offer, and they know they bought a house on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. Like, they don't have to spend the rest of the weekend jacking around with it. They can go to lunch and relax because we know that the offer that we made was accepted, or the counter offer that they sent us, we accepted, and we're in contract on a house, and we don't have to wait all weekend to find out the answer to the question.
It's amazing. It is such a good way to do it, and it keeps the contracts clean so we're not faxing back and forth a million times.
Absolutely. But I think it also just builds, it makes people feel valued.
Yeah.
I really do think it makes buyers feel valued, that our leadership team is accessible enough that we're not too good to answer a question on a Saturday or Sunday, and we're not too uppity to respond to them and get back to them and meet their need, because they're out shopping and they feel like they're putting themselves out there. And I know that's got to be a feeling from their side, like, why doesn't anybody care enough to at least respond when I send an offer?
Those actions just go a long way, and I think that's why you guys have had such good success.
I believe so.
It's
one of the many things, yeah.
Danny, I really appreciate you coming in today, and good luck. And hopefully we'll do another transaction together soon, and I appreciate you taking some time.
I love it. Look forward to seeing you again.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to send it to our producer. You're listening to Community Real Estate Talk Show. We'll be right back. Thanks.